All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Dave Henning. And actually, Dave and I found out we have a very remote connection that just kind of came out of nowhere. And I actually was a Young Life leader, and Dave started the area that I led Young Life in. So that's really cool. Anyway, Dave is a John Maxwell coach, international podcaster, and best-selling author. Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it kind of blew my mind when we got to talking about that we knew a lot of the same people. We served in the same area almost at the same time, relatively speaking, or so. But that was really blew my mind as well, man. That was really cool.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. Small world. Yeah. Well, awesome. Let's jump right in. And if you could start with telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, I actually like podcasting for fun because I actually spent many years in the radio business at radio stations in around the United States and Kansas City and New York and Boston, San Francisco, Charlotte. And that was kind of my loved job that was being the radio industry. And I was involved in leading some small churches on the East Coast for a number of years. So I always was coming up with some very interesting things to keep me busy and pay the bills. So to get paid for extra for doing what I always love to do, which is getting paid for talking, it was really kind of getting paid for having fun. So. But other than that, I've always enjoyed things like golfing, and I've owned a couple of boats on a couple of lakes, and I've always enjoyed getting out on the water every once in a while and relaxing. Currently, where I am here in Costa Rica, I do a lot of bike riding, and I'm kind of out here in the country, so it's very relaxing, and to see the mountains and the cows. So yeah, I really kind of enjoy a variety of things, but this is really special to meet you and connect how we did, and just share the hope and the joy of having a purpose, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of purpose, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Well, that's a great question because I'm here for about maybe 30 or 45 minutes, and I intend to give you and your audience a ton of value. I also have the service for sale that once you see how it can help solve several challenges for your family and your loved ones, or if you're especially like a small business owner, and I'm going to offer it at a fair and reasonable price because I want to be ethical and honest right up front, be transparent. I just want you to know, and your audience to know, that I'm actually here to sell you something. Yeah. And of course, it may or may not be for you, but I think once you see what it is, I think you'll be really surprised. A lot of people don't know about this, but we've been around we celebrate 50 years in business next year. In the spring of 2022, I've been with the company about 18 years myself. So that's my plan, is to give you a lot of value, basically for nothing here, to let you know what's going on and how it can bless your family and offer you some really security and safety and peace of mind in the day and age we're living in, which is quite interesting. Let's say interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. That pegs it.
So I'm actually hoping that people will invest in the service, and it's available all across you, specifically only in the United States, in all 50 states, and in all the provinces of Canada. So that's what I do, in full transparency. And I have an ethical obligation to let you know that I feel that this is super important for people to really know about something that they may have never heard of, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure we'll get more into detail as we get into your dreams and goals and stuff for selling your service. But before that, tell us a little bit about your motivation in life, what gets you up and keeps you going every day, and for selling the service that you sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been super passionate about helping people all my life. And as you know, in our common purpose of working with the Young Life organization, which is all about helping high school kids and junior high kids, I have that same passion about things like education, getting people educated, children, especially in our schools in Kenya. And I work with an organization out in California for disabled adults that kind of aged out of Young Life Capernaum, and now they're still disabled. So we still help them for life. I'm on the board of directors there. So that's my passion. And even when I was doing radio, and I was a morning drive disc jockey and talk show host, and I took myself off the air on purpose because I had a son that was born that had cerebral palsy. We had some medical bills, and we had just bought a new house. So I took myself off the air to go into the sales department because, as you know, when you're selling something of value, you basically can give yourself a raise. Yeah. And so having said that, that's my passion. I loved helping small business owners back then and coming up with some great marketing and advertising stuff where, and I love building relationships. That's my purpose. Can I say it that? Did I cover that question?
Yeah, no, that was great. I love it. Well, let's jump into your dreams and goals now. Tell us about your vision for the service that you sell and just your life in general.
Sure. Again, it all goes right back to the same exact purpose, which is to help people who need help and provide a service that makes a difference. So in the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to show you how really to eliminate expensive legal fees, protect and grow your small business, maybe even pay off your credit cards and make an extra, perhaps up to 6-figure income, literally in your spare time, working as little as 4 hours a week or less, that automatically pays you over and over again every year. So if you think that would be helpful, most people, quite frankly, most people think, well, that is totally ridiculous. What in the world are you talking about? But nowadays with the gig economy, people are thinking about, I might not go back to my corporate job. I might work from home or from my phone or from the beach or from whatever. And again, we're an established company. This is obviously involves work. It's not a get rich quick thing. But when you hear what I just said, people are thinking, Dave, you're crazy. So stick around and let me show you how this would make sense. Actually, I want people to prove me wrong. And the key is, if you're serious and not curious, I can show you exactly what I do and how I do it. Everyone here is going to want to subscribe to my services once they see how it is. And as far as extra money, that is not for everyone. And I tell everybody, look, that may or may not be for you. That's fine. But I bet somebody that I could help. It'll be the few of you that really want to work with me. But so stick around. I've got a free gift for all of our listeners at the end that I want to share.
Hey, I love that. And so in your purpose of helping as many people as possible, specifically with your service, you're targeting small businesses. Is that right?
Yes, small businesses and individual families. In fact, during when we had the shutdown in 2020, I was actually in the employee benefits division of our company. So I was actually calling on small business owners and enrolling their entire employee staff. I would do a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation, answer questions, and typically I would have about 90% of the people, once they see what we do, they'd say, yeah, I want it, I'm on board. And it would be a payroll deduction kind of a format. But what I do now is I can offer it direct, whether you're an employee or not. And I can also still offer it as an employee benefit as well. So for example, a friend of mine over in the state of Alabama, he's got almost all of the school teachers in every county enrolled for employee benefits. We enroll a lot of police departments, a lot of fire departments, a lot of nonprofits. And so again, that's on the small business side. But then we also have a separate plan to protect small business owners who need to know, well, what are my rights? How do I help my employees? But how do I protect my business perhaps from lawsuits, from reputation management, all kinds of things like that? Because our two core services are on the legal side, but also we have licensed private investigators that actually we have a saying that we will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to restore your identity to pre-theft status. So, for example, if your identity is stolen in another state, are you going to try to do battle with that on multiple states? No, it's impossible. So that's one of the services we provide. For example, one of our members down in Texas, he was in a hurry to get home because his wife was expecting and due any minute. He had both of our services, but he was pulled over late at night for speeding initially. But when the officer, I believe in police officers. I have family members that are police officers, and I support them. But he was doing his duty, and he pulled up this gentleman's record. He says, "Please step out of the car." And so what happened was, this young man, his identity was coming up as a suspect in an armed robbery in Detroit. And so because he had the Legal Shield app on his phone, at 10 o'clock at night, midnight, or 3 a.m, he was able to get an attorney on the phone in 5 minutes to explain to the officer, "This is my client, I represent him." And so otherwise, I know people that have, there's stories of people that have been arrested in the parking lot of Target for trafficking drugs, and it wasn't them, but they had to spend 7 days in jail. So, I mean, it seems overwhelming to talk about the stuff that seems so unreal. It happens to everybody else. It's not going to happen to me. I'm just saying, you just don't know. Especially if you've got teenage drivers, you want to have their Miranda rights protected, and know what they have to do and what they don't have to do as far as when an officer is doing his duty somewhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's on par with health and life insurance, honestly.
Well, yes, exactly right. In fact, one I think it might have been Forbes magazine that made a quote that this is where health and life insurance was a number of years ago, before it became basically viral. Over in Germany, I believe they still require you to have this kind of insurance just to get your driver's license and your car insurance. You have to have legal protection insurance. So it's coming in the States, but we've been doing this for a long, long time. Like I say, 50 years now. We're protecting over the United States well over 4 million families and thousands of small businesses across the United States. But as I said, not everybody knows about it, and it seems so. When you hear about it for the first time, oh, come on! You mean to tell me for $1 a day you can protect my whole family? All of my children, up to the age of 26 if they're living at home or going to college. Yes, because it's a crowdfunding model. It's kind of like what Spotify did to music, what Airbnb did to the hotel industry, what Amazon does with their Prime membership. You pay a membership fee and you get all these benefits, free shipping or whatever. So again, that's the model. It's a crowdfunded model where we actually hire the attorneys and we vet the attorneys. They have to have, the average law firm has about 22 years of experience. They're not amateurs right out of college. They're not paralegals, but they know what they're doing. The law firm that I use in Los Angeles has actually been around for over 100 years. And so they're the law firm for Los Angeles Dodgers. If you're a Dodgers fan, I'm more of a San Francisco Giants fan myself. So yes, and here's the things. Here's why most people, Tim, would believe that they don't believe us. This subscription plan is going to amount to anything. Some of the things that I just said, they think, well, if it's cheap, it can't be real. Number one, or they maybe they tried an online service that advertises online on Google and it didn't work. That's possible. Or like, as I mentioned, maybe they're thinking, oh, well, it must be paralegals and they either are working from a bar or didn't pass their bar. How reliable can that be, right? Or, it's more trustworthy perhaps to go see an attorney or your cousin who's an attorney sitting behind a big oak desk and be there in person. So there's a lot of reasons why people would think, can this really be real? But trust me, it really is. I actually wrote a little email to my law firm. I said, could you send me kind of a list of how many times I've used my service since I've been in California the last 8 years? 42 times I've used it for a variety of things and not gotten an invoice, including my last speeding ticket 7 or 8 years ago in New Mexico, where I was going down this really nice interstate heading towards Albuquerque to drive home from West Texas. And a car is slowly coming toward, there weren't even any cars around. And if you've ever been in New Mexico, it's like a desert on both sides of the road. And sure enough, it was a police officer. He did a U-turn. He issued me a speeding ticket. And he says, do you have any questions? I says, yes, sir. Yes, officer. I want to know, is it true that Billy the Kid was killed in that town back there in the 1800s? Well, he really didn't have he was very polite, did not have a sense of humor. But so here's what happened. Our app, you can download our app for free, both the Legal Shield and the ID Shield app, and you can actually take a picture of your ticket before you leave the side of the road. It'll be sent directly to my law firm in Los Angeles. They got me an attorney in Albuquerque who I didn't have to go back to court. He represented me there. A couple weeks later, I get a letter from him. The Honorable Buddy J. Hall has issued you a deferred 90-day sentence, and you have to pay $81 court cost. And that was it. I did not have to pay the Albuquerque attorney. I did not have to pay the Los Angeles attorney. I paid the court fees. I got no points on my license, and my insurance did not go up. Now, we're not recommending this to disobey the law. Yeah. It's not like, oh, good, let's see how many speeding tickets I can get. That's not the point. The point is, keep your insurance costs down and to help people who from time to time may have some kind of a moving traffic violation, including things like if you're involved in an accident and this is common, you could be charged with manslaughter in an accident. And if that happens, we will represent you in court, included in your plan. We also give away a free gift just for trying the service. There's no contract. It's not like a cell phone contract. It's month to month. You can cancel at any time. But just for trying our service out, you can get your will, your living will, and your healthcare power of attorney done at no charge, just for experiencing our service. And we want to offer that to say, look, we are so confident that if we don't oversell you and show you all the things that are included in your plan, including personal lawsuit protection for you and your family, then we want to give you this free gift, and you can update it every year as your family changes. So I've been flapping my jaws here for a while, man. So let's jump right back in here. And what else would you like to know? I can tell you a few success stories whenever you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I first want to know, is it literally $1 a day?
The family plan is $29.95 a month, I think, for the legal plan. And then the identity theft plan to be monitor all three of your credit bureaus, and it includes privacy management, reputation management. Like if somebody finds some pictures of you from where you were in college drinking too much from 30 years ago, and these pictures show up on Facebook, we do reputation management, privacy management, and then also the licensed private investigators. All that comes to around, I think that's $39 a month for that. So basically, under $60 a month. What does that come to if you divide about $2, less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, basically per day. A couple of dollars a day covers it, because we actually hire and vet all the law firms, and we pay them a portion of every membership fee, and that's how they're paid. But yes, it's true. And I have a lot of testimonials on video that I can show people and send to people. I've got a whole stack of letters that law firms have written for me. I've laminated them. My little laminating machine. Everybody, you need if you're in business, you got to have a laminating machine. I'm sure you have one. No?
Yeah. what, 30 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. I guess my other question is, I feel like this could revolutionize the legal trouble that some of the lower income / minority communities will get in. So can you speak a little bit about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have quite a mix of all minorities and majorities in our organization that are loving this because, again, we have a saying: if you don't know where your rights are, you don't have any rights. And the second thing is, if you can't afford a lawyer, you only get as much legal protection as you can afford, and who can pay $300, $400 an hour. In fact, years ago, we actually paid a relative who was an attorney $400 to write one letter. And so now I've had my law firm, just for example, write to a cell phone, mobile phone carrier. You ever call someone up and you got, your bill was wrong for your mobile phone or whatever, and you call up and then you say, let me talk to your supervisor. Well, you know how well that works, right? I was just on the phone yesterday for an hour and a half with a health insurance company, and they had me transferred to 9 different people in an hour and a half and still did not solve my problem. So guess what happens next? My law firm is going to write a letter to the CEO of that healthcare company, and they're a big company, if I told you who it is, and they're going to write a letter to the legal counsel of that same. So when a company gets a letter from a law office with 40 attorneys' names across the top of the letterhead, it goes straight to their legal department. It does not go to their customer service department. And my experience has been, it has gotten me results every time. In fact, the last one to this company in Dallas, Texas, we wrote to the CEO and I got an email back from the head legal counsel. Sorry, Mr. Henning, you're not responsible for that $400 that we billed you incorrectly. And I saved $400 just on that one thing. My wife and I went to Washington, D.C. years ago. She had never been there. We were living in Charlotte at the time, Lake Norman area, by the way. And we drove up and we stayed at a hotel on the Maryland side, a nice brand name chain of hotels, normally very nice, not complaining there. And we went to our room. There were ants on the floor. And so I just went down a very place, says, hey, would it be okay, if we could switch rooms? We've got some ants on the floor. They says, sorry, Mr. Henning, it turns out that we're sold out. But what we'll do for you is we'll send a person up there with some insecticide to spray your room. There's crumbs on the floor and there's ants. They'll spray your room with insecticide. And I'm thinking, that might not be real healthy. So we checked out the same day and we found a hotel in downtown DC so we could tour the Smithsonian. And I had my congressman gave us an inside tour of the Capitol building, which was very cool. Yeah. So we get back home and lo and behold, I have it over there in that pile of letters. That was with my North Carolina law firm out of Raleigh, Durham area. The hotel had billed me something like $341.60 anyway, even though I checked out the same day. Well, I called to my law firm. Didn't cost me a penny. They wrote a letter to the hotel chain. Get about 5 days later, I get a refund of $341.60, just like that. So you are absolutely right. Your question is spot on. I want to help people who cannot afford an attorney. I have attorney friends who I have a high respect for, and then there are those that I would not, give you a nickel for, quite frankly. But a lot of my attorney friends are decent, hardworking, honest people. They have their own practice and they do what they do. But just what you said, I want people to have access to the justice system. We are even working with attorney generals of states. I have personal friends. The former attorney general of the state of Oklahoma is a friend of mine. And all that to say, we want to bring justice to the people. And, we need a lot of justice these days in the United States. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, No, absolutely. I completely agree. And I guess my follow-up question for you before we jump into some of the success stories,
Sure.
tell us about one or two people that you could meet right now. And it could be a specific person or a type of person that would really help you take the next step towards helping as many people as possible.
Sure. One of the things that I've been doing podcasts for like 15 years, but this new software out of England, I made friends with James Mulvaney, the inventor of this software, and so I decided to answer your question. I decided that I need to be more of a guest on other shows as well. So for me, I'm looking to up my game in terms of influencers, which come to find out, I are one, not an influencer, I guess. And I'm just here to serve. A leader servant, I guess you could say. But yes, I want to be a guest on some larger scale podcasts with people of influence that can help me get the good word out. Our CEO. Jeff Bell, he actually worked directly for Bill Gates at Microsoft. To give you an idea of his background, he invented the Xbox and he put Netflix on it, the subscription service. He invented the Halo game and all that software and stuff. So he's really tech savvy. And because of COVID, that's how we went entirely paperless. And our websites, our full-blown websites, our two apps are powerful because he understands the power of subscription-based services and having an app that works. So all that to say that I hope that answers your question, that I would really like to connect with some people that are already have a large audiences. I actually already have in the 100 plus podcasts that I've done is I've connected with their lists, probably over 120,000 people that I'm totally connected with because they promote my stuff and I promote their stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, cool. Tell us about some of the success stories real quick.
Well, you got the one about the cell phone thing and about the hotel and the speeding ticket. And this is interesting. My wife actually was in a small parking lot and was backing out. And apparently this elderly lady claims that my wife backed into her car. And even though she didn't feel anything driving our car, there was no damage on our car. And so this person submitted it to our insurance company. And normally this is a fantastic name brand insurance company that was our insurance company. And they sent us a letter saying, if the damages go above $1,000, we're going to have to raise your insurance rates. So we challenged it. We had called a law firm and says, could you look into this? Here's the situation. And they wrote a letter to our insurance company, believe it or not. And we get a letter back from our insurance company, the reconsideration department. They reconsidered it all right. Come to find out, the damages were really only about $856, not $1,000. So all that to say, the purpose was accomplished because we had our law firm send a letter that once again cost me zero, and it saved us from our insurance going up. We weren't asking for, I'm not the type of person that is interested in frivolous lawsuits and crazy stuff like that. I just want to know, what are my rights? What do you suggest? What should I do? And that's all I ask. So that's one. That's another example. I told you that the ants story. We do have, as I mentioned, we have a large group of employees in San Francisco. And one day, one of our employees got an alert on his app from the identity theft app that says, "Are you buying a car in San Diego?" Well, he can press the red button on your identity theft app and get an investigator immediately. Told him the situation. He says, "No, I'm in San Francisco. I'm not buying a car down there." So he hangs up. The investigator jumps on it, tracks down the car dealership in San Diego, calls up the car dealership and says, are they still there? And they said, yes. He said, stall them. He calls up the San Diego Police Department and has them arrested, all within 30 minutes of this member of ours, this employee of ours who got the alert. Somebody's trying to buy a car using your identity. Can you believe that? That they were arrested within 30 minutes. There's another company that advertises big online, and I won't mention who they are, but they throw in like Norton for free or something. But I had an attorney that was using that other service, and his email was breached, and he says, I got a hold of this, this company. I don't want to get in trouble mentioning who they are, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, hopefully. And a lot of people have that service. And he calls them up and he said, they gave him a list of things that he could do. They weren't going to do anything except give him instructions on what he could do. So he was in my BNI business group, this attorney friend of mine. He says, Dave, meet me after breakfast. And we go out and sit on the other tables. And he says, I'm canceling that insurance. Sign me up today for your identity thing. And this is a business attorney who is using, we have a lot of attorneys that use our services as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, and as far as the business side, we have, just for example, it's a lot of people start in their spare time, part-time, including a lady who was the executive assistant for the mayor of a major Northern California city. And she asked for a raise. And they says, sure, we'd be glad to give you a raise if you'll go and get more education and get your master's degree, and you pay for it yourself. Well, right about that time, somebody told her about Legal Shield. She signed up to be a representative. She decided, I'm using the service. I'm telling people about it anyway. It's like telling people about a good movie or a good restaurant. I might as well get paid for it, right? The only time that she had to work her Legal Shield business was on her lunch hour or in her car. Well, I don't know if it took a little more than a year or so. She totally replaced her income as the executive assistant to the mayor of a major American city. And in fact, she earns multiple six-figure incomes now because there is no ceiling on what we do. If you do really well, I've been in sales for years, right? And maybe you have done some sales as well. You've done some coaching, I know, and you're good at it too. I know you are. Yeah. So, and you know what happens when you're in sales? And if you do too good, I've been in situations where I did too good and they cut my commission because they thought I was making too much. But guess what we do in this business? I am paid to help out all the people that are on my team. And even if I wasn't paid, your success is my joy. I want people to be successful at this. So the cool thing, Tim, that you need to know is I want to make it clear that I'm not really looking for people to sell stuff. All I do is they can duplicate what I do, which is basically invite people to see some information, and that's it. I tell people, hey, I got something I want to show you. I've got these new apps that I'm working on. Just for example, it may or may not be you, but when can you watch it? That's it. And I train people how to just get the information out and share it, and you'll be successful. We have a lot of fast start bonuses that we have. We have a free trip to Maui coming up in the spring that people can earn it and go for free, including airfare. Just all kinds of. This is a very generous company. They also thrive on our success. I talked to you about the fact that I met John Maxwell, the great international, Forbes names him as like the #1 leadership guru in the world. He knows presidents of countries in South America. He coaches sports teams and all that kind of stuff. I met him in 1988 before he even wrote any books. And then later on, I got certified with his particular system for coaching. But it was all about leadership. Leadership is influence. That's what he said all of his life. So I want to influence people for good. I've seen Les Brown. I was blessed to see him. I've gone to a lot of people to listen. You might have know Les's story. He was told that he was mentally retarded by his school teachers when he was a kid. And he got to a school teacher later on. He says, "Don't ever say that again." And he went on to become one of the first class, world motivational speakers. And I'm all about that, man. I don't like to look at people for what they've done in the past or what they can't do, but kind of like this guy that we talk about at Christmas time, who was born in a manger, who sees people for who they can be, not for what they were.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, Dave, I love that, man. I guess I have one follow-up question to the business side for people, like say somebody's listening to this, they want to get into it.
Yes.
In creating that kind of residual income, this business where you're inviting people to use the service that you're already using.
Yes.
It's like $60 to $70 a month to use the service, right?
Yeah.
And are you getting like residuals based on everybody you invite? Like how does this work?
No, it's technically not legal to get paid for signing up associates to be on my team. So I get paid nothing signing up people to be on my team. How I'm paid, it's just like health insurance or car insurance. You know that the guy or lady that's doing your car insurance, they're getting paid over and over again as long as you're on their book of business. Same thing with health insurance. And how we're different from health and car insurance is you have to have those things. It's part of life, but you sure don't want to have to use them. And you definitely don't want to have to use your life insurance.
Yeah.
But we have a service that we actually want you to use as much as you want to use. As I mentioned, I called my lawyers 43 times in 8 years out in California, and we want you to use it. And but that's how we're paid. We're only paid on the policies. But get this, we have member perks where the average of what you can save if you're going to Disneyland, getting tickets, if you're going to the movies, if you're going to a hotel, airfare, we have member perks that on average actually could technically your investment in your family and your business for what you're paying every month for your service, it could zero it out technically if you're using the member perks. And even rental cars. I've gotten huge discounts on rental cars in the past. But in addition to that, think about this. If a person, even doing it spare time, part-time, I can show them how to generate an extra $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month, part-time, just marketing one plan a week. And if they do it a little bit more than that, I can show them literally with a team of just enrolling 5 people and training them to enroll 5 people. About 25 people on my team would earn a person about $120,000 a year. Because who was it? Some famous dude once said, "I'd rather get paid $1 for 100 people rather than $100 for just me doing the work." Yep. So I compare it to like a real estate broker. A real estate broker has real estate agents, and when they sell a house, typically they split 3% each. Same thing with selling cars. They say, well, it's one of them MLM pyramids. Well, let me tell you about a pyramid called a car dealership. You've got the guy that owns the car dealership. You got the general manager, the sales manager, the service manager. They got the salespeople. They all take a piece of that pie. Are you getting the picture there?
Oh yeah, everything's a pyramid structure. Some just allow you to grow more than corporate level things do.
Yes. So get this. If that wasn't enough, everybody that is in your book of business, and you're going to get paid 20 years of residual income off of those year on the 13th month, you're going to get paid over and over again for 20 years. And it's willable. You can will it to your family, to your kids, to your grandkids. So they, it's generational wealth. So, I mean, when have you ever heard anything, oh man, this is too good to be true? Well, take a look. It may or may not be for you. Just get the information and decide. All I'm asking is decide for yourself. So here's what people are dealing with today. I call it FUD, F-U-D, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It scares you without presenting a solution. What we do in my business, I help people reduce their worry, reduce their stress, reduce their panic, lose their fear, lose their uncertainty, their doubt. I'll give you a real quick example, a COVID-based story that I just heard about from a friend of mine. She had a house in the San Jose, California area. Her husband first got laid off from his job. Her job, she was downsized. They got behind in their house payments, so the bank was going to foreclose on them. And so, but they were trying to sell their house and move to a lower priced area, maybe out towards Sacramento or somewhere. And so she got on the phone with our law firm, and they wrote a letter and contacted the bank and says, look, if you will not foreclose and let her sell her house, then you'll get your loan paid off and you can skip the foreclosure business. It won't hurt their credit score, and it will help the bank get 100% of their money. That's exactly what the bank says. Okay, we'll do that. They took her out of foreclosure. She sold her house for enough money to move and buy another house cash in a lower priced area in a different county. And everybody was happy. Bank was happy. She was happy. Her husband was happy. And, I like happy. How about you?
Yeah, man, everybody loves happy. I guess my other thing is how do you suggest that people market this when they join your team?
Great question. Our company actually, every weeknight, here's what we do. I'm just the inviter. I'm not the seller. I invite people to a 30-minute presentation. The first 20 minutes is about the service, just like I told you. The last 10 minutes is here's how you make money. I just invite people to that, either to that presentation, or we have another one out of my friends in California that's a little bit earlier in the day at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So that'd be 4 o'clock Mountain time, 5 o'clock Central time, Eastern time. And a live presentations of that testimony I just told you about that house. That's where I heard that on one of those meetings. So we have live meetings, and then we have a whole host of, I have a 19-minute recorded presentation. And when you become an associate, you have a full-blown website with what's it called? Like an tracking and SEO, all that stuff. Yeah, you don't have to build a website. You don't have to come up with any marketing stuff whatsoever. You basically get that as a marketing tool with every resource imaginable, including emails, follow-up emails, all built into the system for about $24 a month. And if you added up how much it would cost you and I've done that in the past where I've had to build my own website, buy my own leads from a leads company, write the emails, and for $24 a month, they have it all ready to go with your name, your branding on it, your name, your picture on it. And all people have to do is go on there. They've added little short videos where people can get a quick snapshot of, we do one for commercial truck drivers. We have a whole separate law firm just for commercial. If they're hauling fresh produce and they get pulled over, and if they're holding up their cell phone to their ear and the transportation police see them, that's like a $3,000 fine. So that's why I have my Blue Parrot truck driver headphones that I like to use for when I'm calling people. But and so, for example, if they get a speeding ticket, they have to park that truck with whatever's in it, and then they have to get a hotel, wait for their court time, and if it's produce, it's gone. And then on top of that, the trucking company also gets fined. So we have commercial truck driver insurance as well as the employee benefits insurance, the legal, the identity theft, all. We've got a variety of services, and it's not one size fits all. I like to talk to people about what situations are you facing? How can I help you? How can I, I think Robert Schuller what says, find a hurt and heal it, find a problem and solve it. And that's what I do. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, you answered it in the sense that you get a website, you get the emails, you get the SEO, the tracking, all kind of packaged for you for $24 a month. I guess my follow-up question is, with those emails, are you like advertising your webinar on like Google ads, social media ads, or do you do cold emails to like lists that you buy? Like, how does that outreach work?
I do have a company in Pennsylvania that I've actually used for years for multiple companies that I've been involved in. They have a variety of people that are putting work from home type advertising on Google and Facebook and all over the place. They have a variety, and then they have some interviewed leads where I actually interview people and say, "Can you afford $100 a month to get started with our business?" And right now, I think they're still doing that because of our 50th anniversary. We have a special where you can actually start your business for $50 instead of $100. Your $50 plus your two family plans. So you can actually be in a business. I mean, when I had my Service Master cleaning company, when I was pastoring this little country church north of Boston, that franchise cost me $35,000 to have I'm in business. I have my own business, $35,000. Look up the franchise for McDonald's. I used to go through franchise magazines and look at all the costs. I'm talking about starting a legitimate, real business for $100 a month. Plus, it's a tax write-off. Almost everything you do, you'll save more than $24 a month, or way more than that, just in being able to write off a lot of your trips. If you fly somewhere and you just sit out and share this with somebody. I'm not a tax accountant. You have to check with a real tax accountant.
This isn't tax advice.
Yeah, but I have tax accountants who know all the current laws. And I'm telling you, I take whatever I am legally obligated to take for tax write-offs.
Dude, I love it. That sounds amazing. Well, awesome. I know that you guys, it's a longer episode than usual, but if you're hearing this, I know that you loved it because I loved it. Let's ask Dave one more question before we get you off. And this one requires a bit of pretext. It's kind of unrelated to everything, but also very related to everything. You know how there are people on the planet who have a very fixed mindset. They're not willing to accept help and they're not willing to accept change. Sometimes they'll live their whole life like that. Sometimes they'll die like that, unfortunately. Other times they'll change to more of a growth mindset, willing to accept help and willing to accept change. In your opinion, what is the catalyst that causes them to change?
I think you have to identify what is their pain. What are they struggling with right now? What burden are they carrying? A lot of people either have lost their jobs or they're not going back to corporate jobs. They've been working from home for well over a year and they say, I really don't want to go back to that office anymore. So there's the financial aspect, but then there's also, as we talked about very thoroughly, there's the real life aspect of how do I get help when I don't know where to turn? How can I go through? You remember there used to be this thing called phone books. Now we use them for a doorstop. But you could go. Now it's Google. Google is the big phone book in the sky. You go on Google, you search for, I need a lawyer, and then the whole list. So the point being is I want to find out what are you needing? What are you desperately needing? Some people, believe it or not, some people are actually praying to God. What am I going to do? I'm going through this situation. I need help. I don't know where to turn. I don't know what to do. I want to be available for them. And I want to build a massive team of people that have that servant leadership heart and be available. I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, And I talk. It's not a mistake unless you didn't learn from it. But I want to be available to make a difference, and that's my purpose. Is find as Dr. Robert Schuller once said, find a hurt and heal it. Find a need and fill it, or a problem. So I got my ears open. I'm always listening, and I'm the kind of person that is a relationship based. So these Zoom meetings, drive me nuts, quite frankly, because Zoom meetings are not enough. I also have a side service that I use that I've had for several years called Send Out Cards, where they will send out birthday cards, Christmas cards, any kind of cards with gift cards in them out of a printing plant in Salt Lake City. And even from here, I can do I appreciate you card to all my clients that is not a sales card, just saying, hey, thanks so much. Happy birthday, or thanks so much. I appreciate you being with me on this journey, and I'm glad I could help you out. So I'm all into appreciation and recognition as well. It's all part of a bundle. It's taken me years to kind of think this through, how I can bring this all together and kind of bundle the things that I've learned to benefit the most people. And I do want to offer everybody a free gift here at the end. So
I love that. Well, awesome. We are approaching the end. I don't have any more questions for you. Is there something else that you want to chat about before we sign off?
Yeah, let me give this website and real quick here. It's real simple. It's the word home, HOME, money, MONEY, work, WORK, homemoneywork.com. It'll take you straight to the presentation. The one gentleman is a friend of mine who was in real estate for many years, and he was driving himself nuts with real estate. He's been doing this for about 25 years. The other lady was a TV news anchor at a big station, working hours and hours and not making enough money. They do a 19-minute presentation that explains what I just said. And from there, when people request it, I want to offer a free 15-minute consultation. There's a place where they can fill in their contact information. I'll get back with them whether they have questions about, hey, I'm a small business owner. Well, what do you suggest for me? Hey, I'm an employee, or hey, I'm a career guy. I'm a family person. We work with a lot of actors and actresses, by the way, who are like gig actors, and they don't know where their next gig is coming from. And we help them write contracts for them, where they can get the best pay from the people in Hollywood or wherever that's paying them. So we have a huge thousands of people that are in the business with us, several thousand people. So homemoneywork.com, I'm offering a totally free consultation, either about what I can help them on the business side. Typically 100 employees or 200 employees or less. There's a whole market out there of 50 employees or less that are kind of the little gap where they don't get the services they need because they've only got 50 employees. I love to help those kind of folks, whatever kind of company you're in. So that's what I'm offering today, some free time with me. And I do want to say, I wanted to thank you for this time. I feel like we really hit it off, and I think we really resonated, and I really enjoyed speaking to you. And so I'm a big fan of your show already, and I watched some of your episodes before we got into this. You've created, by the way, I know this, you already have created an amazing coaching and training company that I want to encourage your listeners and viewers to jump in and get some services from you as well. And I know that you love, also like me, to build meaningful relationships and that gets results. The bottom line is results, right? It's not just a theory, and it's not fantasy. It's getting results and answers. So I really thank you for your time. Did you have any other questions before we wrap up real quick? And I want to give people time to write that homemoneywork.com down. And any other thing you can pop into your head?
I'd say the biggest thing, what I want to ask is, a lot of people, you're an entrepreneur, And a lot of people really, when they're thinking about jumping into entrepreneurship, have a lot of limiting beliefs that will pop up, a lot of fear that will pop up. Speak to us a little bit while people are writing down homemoneywork.com. Speak to us a little bit about how aspiring entrepreneurs can deal with that fear when jumping in.
That is an outstanding question. Our company for 50 years has been huge about bringing in big name speakers, dealing with the fear factor that we have between our ears, and inspiration and motivation. But it's, I can inspire you, but you've got to learn to motivate yourself. So we've had, when I was in Nashville at our convention, we had Grant Cardone come in and speak. We've had John Maxwell come and speak. We've had the member of the board of John Addison, who's an incredible speaker, come in and speak. When I was in Salt Lake City, we had Bob, who wrote the Go Giver book. What's his last name? Bob, huh?
Bob Berg.
Bob Berg. Bob Berg, like it's at his brother Iceberg. Oh no, that's Ice-T. He's a rapper. No, yeah. So our company is all about that training to get the entrepreneur mindset. They are huge. I've attended a bunch of conventions in our home state of Oklahoma, and also in a lot of them in Las Vegas. I've gone to over the years. Incredible speakers that you've had to pay big bucks to go hear them otherwise. And they always offered, their book for free or some special training stuff on the side and stuff. Phenomenal. That is one of the best questions I've ever heard on the end of our talk here, because vitally important that, you don't just jump into the entrepreneur mindset. I was thrown into it full of fear and trembling when I took myself out of the DJ booth and went across the hall to do sales. I was scared to death. And a friend of mine, a retired preacher, in fact, gave me this book by W. Clement Stone, the Chicago insurance millionaire, called The Success System That Never Fails. Clem Stone was the manager for Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich. And they did a bunch of events together. And so that book, I carried it with me for years and years. It changed my life. It gave me the courage and the optimism and a system. It was all about systems. So we have a system. If you want to join my team or whatever, we have a system for making it successful. And I can have, with our Fast Start bonuses, we do direct deposit, paid daily. And I can show you how to jump in with the Fast Start program and make an extra $1,800 in the next 45 days or less.
I love that. All you out there who are really struggling and financial burden is on your shoulders, this is a business that you can start for not that much money out of your pocket. And you can do while you have a W-2. So no excuses here. Contact Dave. Go to homemoneywork.com. Again, that's homemoneywork.com. Dave, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. You're awesome.
Absolutely. And as we always ask, guys, send this podcast to 1 to 3 people need to hear this message. If you know anybody with podcasts out there that would love to have Dave on, make that connection with Dave. Shoot us a 5-star review on iTunes, and we're out.